everyone, and welcome back to Tea and Lit. Today we're going to be discussing Act 3 of William Shakespeare's Othello, so grab yourselves a cuppa and a copy, and let's get into it. Secret, in this cup is actually just water because I've had 2 cups to tea today, and I am wired! Act 3. There's only one thing I want to say to start out with. I do not like clowns. Period. That's all we have to say. There is a clown in Act 3 at start. Here's the thing. I would love to see Othello in theater, except if I saw a clown. Can you imagine? I just have this vision being at the Chicago Shakespeare Theater and a clown coming up from behind and jumping up onto the stage. And of course, I'm sitting on the aisle, and there's some gangly, scary creature coming up next to me with its crazy hair and crazy makeup and ridiculous outfit, bouncing off the walls, making all sorts of weird noises. Fear and terror. Fear and terror. There's a clown. Prepare yourselves. That's all I want to say about the clown. Let's chat about what's going on in this act. So at the end of the last act, at the end of Act 2, we saw that Othello fired Cassio from his job as lieutenant, and Iago is trying to help Cassio get his job back by going through Desdemona to get to Othello. All these names are so confusing. That is where we left off on Act 2, so let us begin Act 1. Act 3 is Cassio talking to Desdemona, trying to get his point across, saying, hey babe, can you talk to your boy? Because I really want my job, and like, I love him, he used to love me, and like, I made a mistake. I'm really sorry, I got drunk and got into a fight. But like, you know, that sort of thing just happens sometimes. And of course, sweet Desdemona says, I'll intermingle everything he does with Cassio's suit, which is wrong. The Bible says that wives should not nag their husbands. So that's kind of what she's implying here, and it doesn't end well for anyone. She's really basically setting herself up for failure here because, of course, the whole concept of what we're going to be talking about in this play is that Cassio... Actually, we haven't gotten there yet. I don't want to spoil that part yet. Do we get to that at the end of Act 3? Okay, yes. If you've read Act 3, then you already know what the whole thing is going to happen. Is that Iago is going to say that Cassio and Desdemona are hooking up behind Othello's back. Or in front of his face. That would be dreadful in front of his face, too. Anywho, unimportant. So, for Desdemona to say, well, I'm going to be talking about you all the time to Othello, she's really setting herself up for failure here because obviously her husband is going to be jealous under whatever circumstances, but certainly if his good friend honest Iago is telling him that his girl is hooking up with his boy. Nobody wants that, guys. Nobody wants that. So Desdemona has set herself up for failure because men are jealous. That's just a thing. People are jealous. Not just men. People get jealous. And that's just a thing that they're going to have to deal with. Moving forward. One thing that I love, in Scene 3, Act 3, Scene 3, at line 196, Iago says, it is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. So, I may have said this, I may not have said this. So much of our language, in terms of vocabulary and phrasing, comes from Shakespeare. Shakespeare, I think, had the most influence on the English language than anybody else. And this is one of those things, the green-eyed monster of jealousy that Iago is talking about. We talk about the green-eyed monster, think Incredible Hulk. He was the green-eyed monster. Though we love the Hulk. But he was jealous that Captain America got to be big, strong, awesome, punch Adolf Hitler in the face over 200 times, you know? Bruce Banner wanted some of that juice, and that's how he became the Hulk. Jealousy is a green-eyed monster is an expression we say all the time. Oopsies. Is an expression we say all the time, and here is Iago saying it, the great William Shakespeare. It's just brilliant. Just brilliant, guys. He's just brilliant. Okay. Exoflicate. Exoflicate? Yeah, exoflicate is what I want to say. It's a vocabulary word that I had never heard of. Clearly can't say. Do you guys have this problem that you can't say words? You can write them down, and sometimes, not in this case, but sometimes you know exactly what they mean in your head, and then somebody says it out loud, and you're like, is that how you pronounce that word? Is that how you say that? I've definitely been reading that in my head wrong for, like, ever. Okay, I found that it is the only recorded use of the word. So we don't really know what it means. It's one of those things that Shakespeare just throws in because he thinks he's a wordsmith. But the Latin word exoflare means to blow away, spat out, or inflated. So that is in line 213 of scene 3. So if you're in class and you want to ask your teachers, what does this mean? I would love to know if you get an answer, because it's not super helpful. Not super helpful at all. What else do we want to say here? You know what I never did that I really wanted to do is to count how many times somebody calls Iago honest. Othello in line 299 says, "This fellow's of exceeding honesty," in reference to our dear friend Iago, who is a pain in the neck. A pain in the neck. Okay, now we're getting to the point. So, Iago is in Othello's ear saying, yo, your girl seems pretty tight with Cassio. That's kind of weird, isn't it? And of course, Othello's like, oh, it's fine. Oh, wait, maybe it's not fine. Iago said, just to really dig that knife in and twist it, he says to Othello, she did deceive her father marrying you, which means she has a history of lying to men and manipulating them and going behind their backs and doing terrible things. She married your black butt. Ugh. So not helpful. So of course Othello's feeling insecure. And he says his stupid friend is honest. So wrong. So wrong. If only he could see. If only he could see what we see in Iago. Then maybe we would have a better ending. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Okay. So I want to talk about line 304, where Othello says, happily, for I am black and have not those soft parts of conversation that chambers have, or for I am declined into the vale of years. The reason I want to talk about this, we're going to talk about it more in the future, but there is a challenge with interracial relationships that often comes up. And I know I experienced it, where it's just like some insecurity there, because you focus on what makes you different, particularly from like the other people that somebody's been with, and you don't think about what makes you great, and that's really not good. And I think that happens generally, but I think you can just be more aware of it in an interracial relationship. I remember one time on a date, I was going bowling, and it was in like a small-ish town that like didn't have a high population of black people, and my date hugged me, and I got very uncomfortable because there was a white guy with a bald head, and like he could just be a white guy with a bald head, or he could be a skinhead. You don't know. You don't know this stuff. And so there's just like this added level of insecurity and discomfort being different. And it sucks. That's the nature of our universe. It totally does. It sucks that that's been the nature of our universe for 500 years, 400 years. Like, it's just, and that's one of those things. Like, we have to progress. We have to do better. We have to move forward. And there's nothing wrong with interracial couples. They're a beautiful thing. And really, they're great because they create genetically superior future humans. And that's what we want, right? We want to improve. We want to move forward. For our species, guys. For our species, okay? Okay. Let us talk about the handkerchief. This handkerchief is a big deal, and it will be with us. I'm not really looking at the camera a lot. I'm looking around my room. I'm looking at my neighbor outside walking around. I should be looking at the camera. Hi, friends. Good to see you. My feet are asleep. Okay. Can you see me okay if I stand like this? Maybe just get some blood flow back into my feet and try again. Othello is feeling a little bit sassy, and Desdemona is trying to talk to him and gives him this handkerchief to wipe his brow or something, and he tosses it aside. Just tosses it onto the ground. And this is a very special handkerchief to him, to her, to everybody. Not really. Well, yeah, to everybody. And because it's just fallen by the wayside, when Desdemona and Othello go out to Din, Amelia sees it and is like, oh, I'm going to grab this because my hubby has been saying he wants me to grab this handkerchief. Why? I don't know, but happy husband makes a happy life, right? That's not the phrase, but whatever. And so she gets it and gives it to Iago. And Iago's clever plan, clever jerk-off Iago, is to just happen to drop it in Cassio's house, apartment, place of lodging. I think that's what it was described as. He just drops it there and lets it be. Except the thing is, this handkerchief is special. Okay, it's the first gift that Othello gave to Desdemona, and it was a token from his mom. And his mom said, give this to your wife. Give this to the woman of your love. And it's lost. And it's lost at Cassio's place. Ugh. And it's all Amelia's fault. Sort of. It's not all Amelia's fault. We won't give her too much blame, but we'll give her some blame. So this jealousy is arising within Othello. There's conflict in his heart between what his buddy is saying to him and what his wife, his beautiful wife, who he loves so much. He goes so far as to say in line 537, scene 3, within these 3 days, let me hear thee say that Cassio's not alive. So he is now resolved that Cassio must die. And what did Cassio do? He listened to Iago. What did Othello do? He listened to Iago. What is the lesson here? Don't listen to Iago. Do I have a favorite quote from Act 3? Desdemona, whatever you be, I am obedient. I'm obedient to my husband. Oh, this one was so good. Definitely put these on matching t-shirts, on matching pillows for his and hers, his and his, hers and hers, whatever. Othello and Iago are talking, and Othello says, Iago says, you know I love you, Iago says to Othello, you know I love you. And Othello says, I think thou dost. I just think that's so funny. I think that's funny. Some people might not think that's funny. I think it's hilarious. I think that's all. The first link in the description is to the store. So if you want some very funny, clever t-shirts, mugs, pillows, etc., with fun Shakespeare quotes or designs on them, then please check out the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is our notes, so you can have all of the notes that I've taken from William Shakespeare's Othello. Did I say? Yeah, I think I did. It doesn't matter. And subscribe to the channel and ding the bell, because tomorrow Amelia has very funny things to say about marriage, and I look forward to talking about that with you guys. And in the comment section, what was my question of the day? Do you like clowns? Because I certainly don't like clowns. I guess I don't have a question of the day. I'd like to know your feelings on clowns, though. Have you ever been to a performance and when the actors come out onto the stairs and you're on the end? So scary. Can you imagine if it were a clown? Okay. What else do I want to say? What else do I want to say? Clearly I'm on a caffeine high. That's what I want to say. Okay, bye guys.